UvaldeRadio.net. Hey, it's Robert Miguel. Time for another People of Uvalde segment, and one of my favorite people in Uvalde and beyond, the director of the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Been a long time coming. Welcome back, Miss Caitlin Visel.
Ooh, thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Good morning.
So you've been super busy. Let's get caught up, man. So what's been going on, Caitlin? It's been the summer's just whipping by, man. And Opera House, I know you guys have had construction and projects and rehearsals. What's going on?
So yeah, our construction projects, we're getting our roof fixed. So once that project is finished, we'll have hopefully no more leaks ever for a long time at least. And then we've been prepping for YOUPOP as well as for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So our youth theater group is doing their production this weekend, and then our community theater group, which will have adults and children, is happening in August, and that's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
We will get to the details on those productions, but first let's go and do since it's been a while, let's do an overview of the Uvalde Grand Opera House. It's one of the oldest in Texas, been around since 1891. Give us that kind of quick bullet point biography of the Opera House.
So the Opera House was built in 1891, and we are one of the oldest operating opera houses in the state of Texas. We are most closely resembling our original structure, so I say that we are the oldest because the other oldest one only has their front wall that's original and everything else is new.
Bunch of posers.
So we do a lot of theater, but we also do concerts and community events and meetings, and we've had all kinds of things. We're looking at bringing some really cool people soon. We also do, immersive theater experiences in October for kind of the Halloween deal, murder mystery type stuff. But the city has owned the Opera House since 1978 when it was sold to them for $10. And then they put in all the time and effort, as well as the historic preservation people that were involved. So there's a lot of groups that had a lot of part in our renovation. So we reopened, renovated in 1982.
Well, and then give us the quick brief on the John Nance Garner stuff.
Yeah, so John Nance Garner purchased the Opera House. So the ownership changed hands all the time. And then in 1917, he purchased the Opera House, and he owned it for the rest of the time until he passed, and then his estate owned it. So his children and family owned it until 1978, and they approached the city to restore it because it had basically been abandoned upstairs. The downstairs had always been rented out as commercial space. So the city jumped on that because it is a really historic, awesome place. They knew that they needed to preserve it.
It really is. It is the crown jewel of Uvalde, Texas, right there smack dab in the middle of our beautiful town square. So, again, we've got Caitlin Visel, the director of the Uvalde Opera House. You've been there, about going on your second year now, or is it even longer?
Like 2.5 years now?
Yeah, I was going to say, the pandemic made it fly by, didn't it?
I know. It was so weird. So I started in the fall of 2019,
right,
and then COVID happened.
So, and you've been doing a great job so far.
We're starting to really get into a groove now, though.
yeah, and there's always something going on. Of course, Uvalde life has been crazy, obviously, here lately, but it's great to see that you and the kids are working hard. Again, this weekend, it's a YOUPOP. That's the Youth Players on the Plaza, if I'm not mistaken, are doing your basically your kids show, your summer production of Robin Hood and the Heroes of Sherwood Forest. Did I get that right?
That's correct, yeah. So we're really excited that the kids wanted to continue the tradition of YOUPOP this year with everything that went on in Uvalde in May. We weren't sure how kids and families would feel about it, so we sent out a thing, and everybody was like, no, they want to do it, they want to do it, they want to do it for the community. So the kids are looking forward to bringing such a joyful interpretation of Robin Hood to Uvalde, and they've been, working on cool stunts and adding a little bit to the blocking of everything so that it's just a really, really fun show for them to do and for everyone to see. It's just really great.
Now, we're going to talk about the kids here in a minute, but let's go and first of all talk about the production team. Are you the producer, director? What are your roles and who are your assistants?
Well, me and Camille and myself, have been acting as directors. I'm going to say we're co-directors because there have been days that she's just had to do all of it by herself, and there have been days that I've had to do all of it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're in charge of that part of it, I guess. We've also been kind of in charge of getting the props and the costuming done. We have had a lovely assistant in Cadence. Cadence Rodriguez has been a wonderful addition that we didn't have to paint the flat, so we didn't have to figure out how to make it look like a forest. She did that for us.
Oh, nice.
So that's been really wonderful because Camille and I, as much as we try to be crafty, we're not that crafty. So painting a forest flat was not something that I wanted to do. So we're really happy to have Cadence on the team. And that's pretty much it. It's been us and the kids. And
as far as the source material, is this kind of just a kids, I mean, how do you go about, I guess, is there licensing, or you just pick up?
So the licensing is through youthplays.com, which obviously they do plays for youth.
Right.
So it's a great they have a huge library, anything from classics to very, very modern interpretations of classics to very new type plays. They have stuff that talks about, they have even the ones that, talk about bullying and how that's not good, and they have ones that are Shakespeare, and they have modern Shakespeare, and then they have stuff like this, Robin Hood. This is also the same place that we got from last year, the Pinocchio that we did. So it's not your Disney's version of any of these fairy tales, but it is a pretty fun place to find some really cool material.
Even better, Disney's like a bad word these days anyway, so that's fine by me. Tell me this, how do you decide on these titles? Do you leave it up to the kids, parents? Is it you and Camille? Or is it the price maybe? What goes into choosing that? Which one you guys do?
So Camille and I, we pick them, but we like to read through several each year, and we try to go with ones that are fun but also relatable, but that have some really funny dialogue and some great moments. Like last year we did Pinocchio, and that was very set and prop heavy, and we had a really great team to do that. And this year we decided that it was going to have to be something a little more simple on the props and the sets, just as far as, we're not going to have 4 different people backstage to turn a flat around or whatever.
Right.
Last year was basically our first time to do YOUPOP because in 2020 we weren't able to do it. So for our second one, we wanted to kind of put a little more pressure on the kids and give them some more dialogue-driven material.
Sure.
So this is a very witty and snappy. There's some really great back and forth with some of the characters. It's just a lot, and we've got a really great group of kids. About half are returning people, and the other half are new to us this year. So we've been really blessed with the amount of kids that wanted to participate and the follow-through that they've done. And they've been off book since like the 3rd day.
Nice. Well, we're looking forward to it.
It's really fun. It's
going to be a great show. Again, we're talking to Caitlin Visel over at the Opera House. YOUPOP is doing their big shows this weekend. Robin Hood and the Heroes of Sherwood Forest, Friday, 7 p.m., and then Saturday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. You can get your tickets at tickets.uvaldeoperahouse.org, or just go to uvaldeoperahouse.org and look for the link there. Let's go and talk about these kids. You say half of them are kind of old pros and half of them are newbies. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to give out some kind of, I guess we'll just call these Uvalde Radio Awards, some recognition. So just okay. I'm going to pick your brain and tell me who fits the role here. Okay. Who is your scene stealer to look for in Robin Hood this year?
Ooh. Do you want the actor's name or the character they play?
Give us both. Give us the actor and who they're playing.
Scene stealer for Robin Hood, I would say is... Oh, man, that's really hard because they all have such good dialogue. But you would think that it would be Robin Hood, but it's not because he just has all the fun dialogue. The scene stealer is definitely Scarlet, and she's part of the Merry Men, and she is played by Addison Sanford. And her dialogue is just so snarky. and relatable and funny, and she delivers it so well. I think she's going to steal a lot of scenes.
All right,
There
love
are
it.
a handful of others that will also, but she's the first one that comes to mind.
Love it already. Okay, so who would you say, as far as rehearsals and overall performance, is your late bloomer? Maybe somebody who started off kind of shy, but then kind of broke out of their shell here, as we get ready for opening night.
That's a really good one. Our late bloomer. I think that's going to be one of our ensemble people. Her name is Emily Walker, and Camila and I ran into her at the career fair at Flores, and she was like, "Wait, what are you talking about? There's auditions this weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, you should come and audition." And so she did, and we cast her as part of the ensemble, which she has to play so many different parts. And this week she's really come out of her shell, and she's working on some stunts, and her facial expressions are it's just so good. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
It's exciting to hear you get excited about these kids. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so this might fall into kind
of them.
This next one might fall into kind of the similar category. But who would you say your best, newbie, your best new recruit for this year?
That one's hard because there's a lot that have come this year that are so good. I think it's a tie.
Okay.
I think it's a tie.
Nothing wrong with that.
So we have a young lady who I think she goes to Sabinal High School, and her name is Morgan Jackson, and she plays Maid Marian. And she has known her lines since day one. She hasn't had to look at her book. She's been very into it and excited, and she has great ideas, and she's just awesome. Then we also have Aragon Pilkington, and I may have butchered that last name, but he has been a wonderful addition. He was kind of one of the ones that was a little shy at first because he didn't know a lot of people, but he has really come out of the woodwork with some of the suggestions for, like, well, what if we did this instead of that? And what if, when I have to, take because he plays the sheriff of Nottingham, so when he has to take somebody off to jail, he's like, well, what if I do this so that she can do that, and then we can go off? Well, yeah, yes, do that. That's better.
I love it. I mean, so the sheriff's my favorite character anyway.
It's been really fun. It's been really fun because a lot of these kids, and then there's, some of my veteran ones are the same way. They're like, well, Caitlin, what if we did this? I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's way better than what I thought of.
Well, that was going to be my next question. You got a lot of returning players. Who is the old pro on this year's cast? Like the best, that's the veteran, that's your rock.
Since day one, the veteran that's been my rock has been Luke Packer. And this year, he's one of my younger ones, but he's been in several shows here. And since day one, he's been, Caitlin, what if we do this? Caitlin, what about this? And what if when I come on and I do this, I make my face do this, or I have this in my hand? Or he just has so much vision that, on day one, I was like, that's so overwhelming, write it down, because I will forget in 2 weeks.
That is fantastic. Okay, one final little Uvalde Radio award. Who would you say, because I feel like these people are important, like the class clown, the person that just makes it fun to be at these rehearsals day in and day out?
Oh, man. There's a handful of those, too. Gosh, I think probably it's our Robin Hood, and that is Guillermo Mancha III. And this is actually going to be his last YOUPOP with us, and we're really sad about that because he does bring a really fun energy to every rehearsal, and he's very enthusiastic about what he's doing. But his family is moving away, so they're not going to be here anymore, so he won't be able to do it unless they, of course, come back and just stay in Uvalde for the month of July next year. Then he can come and do it. I think he's our class clown for sure.
Well, you sound so excited. You can just hear the beaming and pride in your voice when it comes to these kids. So we are excited that you're so excited. Again, the production is Robin Hood and the Heroes of Sherwood Forest, Friday, 7 p.m., and then 2 shows Saturday, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Tickets are at tickets.uvaldeoperahouse.org. What's the pricing on those, Caitlin?
I'm going to make everybody anxious. It's general admission this year.
Okay.
No reserved seats. You can get your tickets ahead of time, but I changed the seating layout. I know it's stressful, and I'm sorry, but it's so much better because now we have in the main level of seating, there are no obstructed seats.
Okay.
So before we had 3 different sections, and you had a good chunk of seats that you couldn't see the whole stage. And so now those seats have all been squished together in the middle. And they go from the column to the column, and now there's just better view everywhere.
Awesome.
So, and people are going to be stressed out, and I'm sorry if you're stressed out, and I'm sorry, but it's for the better of the Opera House and for the better of all of it. So your ticket will be better. There isn't a bad seat in the house now. So general admission seating, the tickets are $15 a piece. All of that goes directly back into our fund for YOUPOP. So we take whatever we make on this and we apply it to next year's camp. So, it's a 3 to 4 week endeavor. This year was 3 weeks. Next year will probably be 3.5 or 4. But we feed them the last week when they're here all day, and we get T-shirts and all that. And they do have some things that they pay for as well. But anything that we make on this particular performance goes back into making this particular performance better every year.
$15 is nothing at all. And it's a small price to pay for some local entertainment, supporting the arts in our community, supporting our historic landmark, the Uvalde Grand Opera House. I mean, it ain't, if we want to hear since 1891, we want to keep it here in the future. $15, you know what I mean, from a city resident is not much to ask for at all.
And if I will go ahead I'll put this on the record. I have a private donor who is willing to cover the cost for anyone with multiple children in their family. So if you want to have a family night out, and you mention this ad to me, you got to call me in order for this to happen. But the cost of the children's tickets will be covered if you buy 2 or more other tickets.
Wow, very cool. That's a great deal. Yeah, and there's a lot of families that have several kids. And, get them out for an evening or an afternoon of great family entertainment at a beautiful historic venue here in Uvalde. Again, that's the Uvalde Grand Opera House this weekend, Friday and Saturday. The big production of Robin Hood. Again, UvaldeOperaHouse.org for information. All right, well, that is the word, and that's going to wrap it up here with Caitlin Visel from the Uvalde Grand Opera House. I'm Robert Miguel, and this is UvaldeRadio.net. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Robert.